Hey friends, what's going on? So that's me playing Neil Young's classic song, Old Man, right? And in this video, what I want to do is talk about just the first 2 chords of this song. These chords gave me so much trouble, and in this video, I'm going to share with you what I put together in my first 4 or 5 days of practice. So check out this PDF I put together, right? What this is going to do is going to explain and demystify these first 2 chords, not just talk about how to play them, which I do, and talk about the progression. I'm going to talk about basically how to get comfortable with the dissonance, right, of that open string that sounds so harsh when you play it by itself, and talk about just basically the exercises I put together, getting comfortable with that hammer-on, bringing in the strumming, but not too much strumming, bringing in the thinnest note, but not too much of it, right? Then I'll show you my sort of finished tab here. So this is on my website, playsongnotes.com, and I offer this up in addition to the full lesson I made for this song, right? If you're just having trouble with the opening chords, this is the lesson for you. I went really deep, and you know, part of the deal here is I am a student of guitar, a lifelong student. I'm not an expert. I can't just play these songs out of the gate, right? I make lessons on YouTube, but those are after I've practiced it for a long time. And what this type of lesson does is it sort of takes me the first week or so when I'm learning a difficult song, and I share with you, hey, I just went through it. Here's what it was like. Here's the exercises I used to get over the hump. And I do that because I think that might be helpful to you, a fellow student who's also trying to get over the hump. So check this out. You can get the PDF at my website, playsongnotes.com. Look out for my full lesson on this song as well. And with that said, y'all, let's get into this, and I'll teach you how to play this intro riff to Old Man by Neil Young. Let's do it. All we're going to be talking about here are these 2 chords, right? Going from a D chord, right? We're in standard tuning, no capo. And then we have this chord up here, which is a D minor 9. Okay, so we're going to have an open 4th string, and then 5th fret, 6th fret, and then open. Now, the way to sort of take the scariness away from this chord is think of it like this. Take your D shape, 2, 3, 2, right, on the thinnest 3 strings, and go up to 5, 6, 5. Okay, same shape. All you're doing is sort of changing your frets, right? Look for that dot on your 5th fret as your visual anchor, and just sort of, you know, sort of aim there with your mind and plant your index finger on that 5th fret of the 3rd string, 5, 6, 5. Add that open 4th string. Okay, but then what you got to do is just take your finger off the thinnest string. So it's open, 5, 6, open. And if you strum them all together, it sounds kind of gross and nasty and horrible, right? It's I think dissonant is the theory term to describe what's going on here. I think it's 2 notes that are a half step away, and when they're playing at the same time, it just has a very nasty vibration that seems very, very harsh and unpleasant to the human ear. That's what's going on there. But the first thing is just get comfortable with that, right? From going from the D to the D minor 9 and go back. So first, get comfortable with this. This is the first step. So it's going to be a helpful way to basically get comfortable with what you need to do. Now, what's the next step? I think the next step would be understand the big picture, 30,000 foot view timing of things with this intro. And what I mean by that is this. If you were to count it in quarter notes, and that's what Justin Sanderco did in his video, and that's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and like that's the pacing of things. We're going to be on this D minor 9 for 3 full measures, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then D for 2 measures, 4 and D, 3 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the key with this is if you put words to it, it becomes a little bit more clear, right? So he's playing this as he sings the initial, old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were, right? And again, old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Okay, so it's 3 times on the D minor 9. When I say times, I mean measures of 4 counts, and then 2 times or 2 measures on the D, right? So if you only did strums, that's a good place to start because it's giving you an idea of the rough timing of things. Because we're going to get a bit more zoomed in and a bit more difficult with things in a moment here, right? But one thing I was doing when I was learning this song was you know, you could just do, instead of strumming on the 1 count, you could strum on the 1 and 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just do a down strum on the 1 and 3 counts. And if you did that, and you followed what I just showed you, it would sound like this, right? Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Let me count it this time, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that sort of gives you a bit more of a consistent right hand strumming motion, but it helps you get that sort of sense of the amount of measures you're going to be needing, right? Now at this point, one thing I did was I put my pick down and I was going finger style. And the cool thing about this is it's a 4-string chord, so you can do one pluck of your finger picking for each 8th note, right? So I was doing this. And the key here is 8 plucks for each measure, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 2 and... The counting trips me up here, right? But 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and you repeat it, right? Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. One more time. Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. So again, the key of these first couple exercises is just to, number 1, you know the chord shapes, get comfortable moving there, and then also get comfortable with the amount of measures you need to spend on each chord. You should be able to not even think about it, because if you're thinking about it, it's only going to get impossibly harder once you bring in strumming and hammer-ons and accenting this string but not that string and up strums and down strums, all right? So take what I just did, rewatch it if you need to, but go with that, right? And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep piling on the layers here. The next layer I'm going to pile on while we're doing finger style is to do, instead of doing 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, right? This gets a bit repetitive if you just do it over and over again. What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do a 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, and then 4th, 3rd, 1st, 2nd. And I'm going to repeat that over and over again. So first, just try repeating those 2 sequences, right? It sounds like this. And again. What that does is it gives a bit of a challenge to your right hand. And you're going to need that because it's only going to get more and more challenging for your right hand, right? Your left hand is pretty much staying still and changing not that often, but it's your right hand where the difficulty is going to come. So bring in the difficulty slowly. Get used to it as you bring it in. And once you get comfortable, you can dial it up. But don't dial it up too fast, too soon, because then you're just going to lose. It's going to become frustrating as hell, and you'll probably give up and feel like you're getting nowhere. Now, the next thing I want to say about these chord, which is like a real frustrating thing that was really hard for me to learn, was the fact that the 2nd string is the highest note in pitch of all 4 strings, right? The 1st string, right, listen to this. 2nd string is higher, 1st string is lower. That's the opposite of how chords usually are. If you play a regular D chord, for example, or any open chord, the thinnest string is always the highest in pitch, right? But here, it's not the case. The 2nd string is the highest in pitch. And this is tricky because when you get into doing a bit of changing your strumming and the finger style we talked about, it messes with your brain when your brain expects the thinnest string to be the highest in pitch, but then it's the 2nd string that is, right? And I find that this exercise helps to sort of like subtly short circuit your brain and get over that hump, because it's going to get tricky with what we're going to talk about next. So the next thing I want to talk about are these hammer-ons. Okay, so these hammer-ons are going to happen in each of the first 3 measures, right? And by hammer-on, I'm talking about the idea of hammering on the third string. Right? You say you pluck the fourth and the third string together. And then you bring your index finger down on that third string, 5th fret. That's the sort of initial hammer-on. That's a hammer-on. That's the only hammer-on you need. But you need to do that. And here's the tricky part, is in the first measure, the hammer-on is happening on the 2 count and the 2 end count, right? Right? So the 1 count is the open D string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that repeating thing I just did, that's what you do in the first measure. But in the second measure and the third measure, you're going to hammer on the 1 and the 1 end count, right? So the whole thing is sort of sounding like this. Right? So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Let me do it again. It sounds boring and unexciting and not helpful, but it's really important you understand this. Is 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you go to the D. Okay, I kind of muffled that one, but hopefully you get the idea. Now, if you were to bring in a sort of gentle, light strum on all the strings, which you can do, right? Light down strums and light up strums. This is another helpful thing to do, all right? Hold that pick as lightly as you can without dropping it, but then on the 1 count and so on the 2 and the 2 end count of the first measure, and on the 1 and the 1 uncount of the second and third measure, that's where we do the hammer-ons. Let's give those a bit more accent, right? So. Okay, let's do that again. Ready? 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and again, that doesn't sound that interesting to the ear, but it's important that you teach your index finger what to do there, okay? It's when to hammer on, and it's on that 1 count of the first measure. You just pluck the D string by itself. So now we have the hammer-ons, and we have the timing of things. We have the chord transitions, obviously. So where do we go next? So the next thing I think we do is introduce the fact that, in my opinion, watching a few different lessons for this song online, one thing I think the teachers fail to mention is you don't necessarily want to bring in this thinnest string all the time, and you don't want to bring it in equally versus all the other strings, because if you do, it just kind of adds this dissonant, it's like bad syrup on your hotcakes or something, pancakes, and it just kind of infects and poisons everything. So what I'm going to show you here is everything I just showed you, right? The timing, the chord shapes, the hammer-ons, but we're going to ignore the first string. Just try this out as an exercise. So basically, you want to get good at strumming only the second, third, and fourth string. Light strum, okay? And then you want to do the hammer-ons like I showed you, right? So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and okay, my counting or something got messed up there, but the point of me showing you this is the fact that if you can get comfortable with just that, then what you can do is bring in the thinnest string, like occasionally with some of your up strums. And it adds this nice flavor to things without overdoing it, right? So now let's get into what I'm considering my personal like secret stash tab for this song. Now this is me. I hear Neil Young play it. I want to sound like Neil Young. Here's what I would do to sound like Neil Young. All right, let's get into it, to the nitty gritty detail. The first measure. The tricky part here is on the 1 count you're doing the 4th string. On the 2 count you're doing the open 3rd and 4th string, and you hammer on, right? So and on the 3 count we're gonna go 4th, 3rd, 2nd string, right? So 1, 2, and 3, 4. 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 Here's where it gets tricky, is 1, 2, and 3, and 4. But we're gonna do an up strum on it's the 3 end count. It's basically gonna be on the, but it's gonna grab that thinnest string, right? So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and, right? So 1, 2, and 3, and. And that 3 end count is where we're gonna sort of grab the thinnest 3 strings or so with the guitar pick, do a light brushy up strum, right? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and, okay? Now this is really tricky. It requires a great bit of pick dexterity and agility, which might come very, very difficult to you. So don't get frustrated if at first it doesn't work for you, right? But let me move on to the 2nd and 3rd measure. The good thing about these is they repeat. So you learn it once, you repeat it, and you're good to go, and then you're done the hardest part of the song. Now, on the 2nd and 3rd measures, the idea is we're going to hammer on the 1 and the 1 end count, right? But sorry about that. Right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 so on those first 1 and 2 and 3 and those first couple counts, I'm only doing the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string. And then on the last up, down, up of the measure, I'm just going to brush the thinnest 2 strings, or maybe 3 strings, right? Okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? That's all you're gonna do. So if you can, so now this is tricky, right? If you combine the first measure, you do it once, and then you do the 2nd and 3rd measure together, it sounds like this, right? So that was me playing it a few times, and this is where it gets tricky because I had a number of outtakes there I had to edit out. I showed you a bit more of a polished version, or I wasn't messing up. But my takeaway is when I get this, it's like there's a feel that comes into it, and it requires you to go back through all those previous steps I showed you, and to get them all under your belt and spend time with this. Grab your guitar when you're not stressed out, you're not in a hurry, maybe you're distracted, you're watching something on TV or something, but just like noodle around, okay? Go through these steps, get the PDF that I have here, and it's a way to just comfortably familiarize yourself with this. And then as you do that, some of these tabs will become more natural to you, I hope, and more intuitive, and you start to feel it with your hand, right? And again, for me, this is a song that still 4 or 5 days in I have to warm up with, and get to a point where I'm comfortable with. It does not come easy. And then you bring in singing. Oh man, he sings on top of it, right? Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. I can't do that yet at all, right? But you can just do the simple version, right? Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. I have the measures down, right? The timing, right? And I could even bring in the hammer-on, I think. Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. But what I don't have is the string awareness and the string dexterity that you need to really get those accents the way that I hear Neil Young playing them on the album version and all that sort of thing. So it takes time, so hey, I hope this was helpful for you. Again, check out my lesson for a bit more of a polished version of this intro. It'll definitely not be this long, and I'll deliver hopefully the goods a bit more succinctly, but my PDF is going to be your friend here because it's going to give you all these tabs, and if you watch this again, hopefully it'll give you what you need to be able to sort of work your way through this one a little bit. And again, I just want to share this while I'm sort of midway through between not having a grasp of it yet, but yet I kind of do. If I get warmed up and I get in the zone, I'm feeling really good, and it's like, okay, I'm starting to get it. It feels good. So I wanted to share it, wanted to capture these insights. Hope you appreciated this. And, check out my website. Check out the other songs I do. Check out my full lesson for Old Man. It should be coming out in probably around Labor Day 2020. It's August 27th as I record this. And it's coming out probably next week or the week after. So if you're watching this immediately, it's not out yet. But if you're watching this anytime in the future after August 2020, August 27th, 2020, it exists for you. So check that out on my website, playsongnotes.com, and I got the PDF for you, so it's a great way to follow along. I hope this was helpful for you, and this has been David Potts. I'll see you all around, my friends. Take care, and bye-bye. Old man, look at my life, 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in a paradise that makes me think of you. Love lost, what the cost? Give me things that won't get lost, like a coin that won't get tossed, rolling back to you. Old man, take a look at my life, I'm a lot like you. I now someone to hold me the whole life through. Oh, one look in your eyes and I can see that's true. There you go. That's where I am. Honest playthrough a couple weeks before I record the lesson. So see you all around, my friends. Bye-bye.